really well. But as I was walking in this highest state of appreciation. And I was keenly aware of literally two timelines as I was walking. And I felt like I was in between the worlds, which happens a lot, but in my neighborhood, it was really odd. So I went for the walk, and on the way back, I was just doing what I call body dowsing, which is just kind of checking in, which way should I walk? And I had a strong impulse to walk a certain way. I walked that certain way. And there's a man whose car was broken down, and he was holding the hood up and looking in there. And I asked him if I could help him. And he said, "Oh my God, yeah." So I just held the hood up. And as he's looking in there, he tells me, "My car broke down. I have this delivery of $75 worth of food. I have to get to this address up the street. I might have to walk there." I said, "Where is it?" And he told me, and it was like 5 miles away. So I said, "I'll drive you." And he was like, "Oh my God." So I drove this guy up to deliver this food. He lives in his car. He's totally broke, but he's delivering food for a living. His car breaks down. He tells me on the way things like he had to steal to eat, yet he's like, the irony is he's delivering food and not eating it. But that's how he's making his money. We get there, and all the way there, he's talking about metaphysical things and things that I'm really familiar with. And he's dropping information that was pertinent to what I needed to hear at that moment. Like,
wow.
Exactly. It was, and he kept calling me an angel, and I was listening to him, and he was giving me the words that I'd been like struggling with, like, try new technology. It's not hard. Just make your video and put it on YouTube. And like,
sure. Well, like all the aha moments I've ever had come from the most unlikely places. Yeah. And that's how it happens. That's how it happens. It's like when you're least expecting it is when you get that information that you need.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you go out of your way to help a homeless person or something, it's like, are you Jesus?
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because you just told me, you just figured out my conundrum for me. So anyway, that's amazing. It was just, it was a great story, but it's not really airworthy. But what I realize is that we're like in between worlds, and everybody that I have run into, including myself, is dealing with levels of depression from being not touched to not physical. In our area, everybody is, we have to wear a mask when we go inside, or they won't let you inside.
Well,
it's pretty much the same here.
It's lack of human touch is what we're missing, what we're craving, that human touch. And I have been recording, and I do think that it's worthy of being on air. So I might leave this in there.
Okay.
Because this could teach. It's a good example for people of what we're all going through right now. So I'll just go ahead and segue into the episode, and we'll get started.
Sure, let's do it.
So guys, you've already been listening for a couple minutes, but you're listening to the Journey to Truth podcast. Tonight we are joined by Irene Ingalls, and she is a shamanic sound healer, light language speaker. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and read. I'm going to briefen up your bio, but I want to read it because it's interesting. It's really fascinating to me, actually. And
me too.
Yeah. If I could even figure this out here. Here it is.
It's funny how life is, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. What the heck's going on here? A shamanic sound healing practitioner and teacher, Irene Ingalls is also a multi-dimensional light language speaker, visual artist, and founder of Seattle Sound Temples, Seattle's Center for Sound Healing, a practicing sound healer since 2004 under the mystery school training of Tom Kenyon, as well as being trained and certified with sound healer Jonathan Goldman. Irene is also certified is also a certified alchemical healer, Reiki master, and self-taught light language channel. And it goes into your personal journey after that, which I want to get into a little bit. So we'll just go into it from there. So those of you guys who don't know who she is, that should help you understand what she does a little bit. And before we get started, actually, I want to do quick little plugs also.
Oh, yeah.
Just before I forget. So we have the t-shirts for sale on Teespring. 20% off with promo code Sleepy Joe. That's going to last through Christmas. That'll get you 20% off. We have a new design coming out maybe just before Christmas, so stay tuned for that. It's really cool, and it might be my favorite one yet, so we'll see. The Omnia Patches, Omnia Radiation Balancer, for those who don't know, it's a patch that you put on your cell phone or any radiating device that harmonizes the frequency coming in, turns it into something beneficial for your body. And it's a really amazing next level free energy technology. It's essentially a free energy device. I mean, this stuff is amazing. If you haven't seen our recent episode with Tim Sanders, please check that out. It works. I had migraine headaches and allergies for years that went away almost overnight just by putting this stuff and basically harmonizing that radiation. I never connected the dots. Hopewell Farms. We just partnered up with them recently. Hopewell Farm. I'll get it right one time. CBD products. They have really top of the line CBD products. Amazing stuff. We do have a promo code for that now. Journey to Truth, just spelled out. Journey to Truth 10 gets you 10% off for now. I don't know how long that's actually going to run, but this stuff is truly amazing. It's really potent. I say this every time, but I think it's a valid thing to bring up. This is illegal in other countries. People wonder why they don't ship internationally. It's because the THC level is so high. They can't.
So U.S. only. It's U.S. only.
U.S. only. So unfortunately, guys who live overseas, you're going to have to fly here and meet us in person, I guess.
You're going to have to fly to St. Louis. Sorry.
That being said, welcome to the show, Irene. How's it going over there? How are you handling these times?
It's hard, but because I do what I do, I get to work with clients on a couple days a week, and I'm doing the sound broadcasts like this live from the studio, and but it's I feel like I'm flying really high, and then trying to manage like 3D. But at the same time, I'm really excited about things that are happening at the same time, because I feel I can see the shift. I could really feel it last night. And that is where I'm putting all my attention, imagining and feeling in every cell in my body that shift when it happens. So I'm excited for that. And that has started to take over the feelings a little bit. So that's great.
Yeah, it is. There is something to be said in that. It's like we need to start looking forward to the future, because there is a bright future, and we can't let this time like keep us down. It's like the whole universe has their foot on our head right now, and we just need to realize that it doesn't have to be like that forever. So and that realization comes from the most unlikely places, kind of like what you said with your story last night.
So what's really important is this is what I feel is, and you were just talking about it, is imagining with all your senses. What does it smell like? What does it feel like? How much joy are we going to feel? Are we going to be jumping up and down, and we're going to be hugging everybody, and we're going to be singing and dancing and free. We're going to feel real freedom, because we will have pushed through this heaviness that is, like you said, trying to push us down so hard. But when we use all of our senses and imagine it in all those ways, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? What are all the senses? That is manifestation. And that's how you hold, and that's literally how you jump timelines.
Yeah.
You can do that while walking down the street.
Very interesting. I think it's actually a lot easier to jump timelines than we realize. I think it's a matter of making a choice in that moment, and that choice can put you on another timeline.
Absolutely, because it's all about our choice in every second. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
I do want to bring up, I think this is important, how we even found you, and why we wanted to have you on. So if you guys don't know, she was at ECETI conference this year. I guess it was this year. It seems like ages ago.
This past summer.
Yeah, this past summer. And you were doing your singing bowls on stage. And it was kind of the end of the day, and you were up there doing your thing. And I stayed in the room for that. And I was meditating while you were doing it. And it was one of the most powerful, moving meditations that I've ever experienced. That it brought me to tears. It was incredible. I was gone. I left my body. And at that moment, I was like, man, this is really amazing. I need to talk to her about coming on the show, because that stuff is important. We forget about how crucial sound is to our healing and to our awakening, to our journey. And like we were talking about before the show, like the brain waves, the 7.83 hertz or whatever. Is that right? Like
7.8 hertz. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and explain that, because that's fascinating to me.
Well, so when we're talking right now, our brains are in beta. So that's thinking and figuring things out. And then as we drop into meditation, our brain starts to slow, the brain waves slow and to immeasurable hertzes. And hertz is the measurement of sound or vibration. It's actually the measurement of vibration. So the beta is where we're now. And then we go into alpha. And alpha, I wrote these down so I didn't get them wrong, is between 8 and 13 hertz. And alpha is like daydreaming and meditation and intuition. So alpha is that still small voice. It's also, I think, where we go when we're sort of drifting in and out between dimensions or timelines, as we were talking about. And then the theta state is deeper, and it's 4 to 7 hertz. So that's the 7.8 hertz. When you're in theta, you're in deep, deep meditation, and that's your REM sleep. And that's the time, that's sort of that place where you're waking or going to sleep, or you're waking and you're in that dreamy place when you're drifting off to sleep. It's also a place where trauma can be stored. So, like, this is my best example. I had an experience where I was running down an alleyway, and it was steep and inclined, and I tripped, and I was flying through the air. And I was running, so I was going fast. As I was flying through the air, everything slowed down in slow motion. I'm sure you've probably had that experience where maybe you've fallen off a roof or something. I don't know. Sure. And you slow down, and that's your brain going into theta. That's like that trauma place. And you have enough time to think and be hyper aware about, one, for me, it was like, how am I going to land? And I was fine. But theta is where the trauma can be stored. It's also where this deep spiritual realm is. It's like the shamanic realm. And when you're working with sound healing or sound, or what you are experiencing, Tyler, is you were going into theta, and then you can literally start to move out of your body like that. And it's also a place where I'm working as a sound healer where people are highly suggestible. So it has like good and bad things about it. I was just thinking about today, when we're on our phones or we're staring at a screen, as if our brain waves shift to or go into any of these other states, then we're highly suggestible. So it's a place to be honored, really, and be aware of. The 7.8 hertz so that's the theta state. And then there's places around the planet. And I love going to Egypt myself. I love going to Egypt and Peru.
Then haven't you led tours in Egypt?
Yeah, I've been 8 times. I'm sort of like a crazy person about it. And we were lucky. I just led a tour. We came back in November. And
just recently then.
yeah, we were just there. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
It was amazing. It's always amazing. It's a life-changing experience. We do sound. We're singing in the Great Pyramid in the King's Chamber, toning. And so the whole time I'm teaching toning and using anyway. So these sites, if you are when you measure the hertz of these sites, they will measure 7.8 hertz. So the ancients found these places around the planet, and that's where they built our temples are built on these places. And there are places around the planet that you just can find sometimes when you're walking around that feel different. And I always feel like stopping and honoring those places is because there are temples everywhere, there are vortexes everywhere. I've never thought about measuring a vortex, the hertz in a vortex, but it might be the same. I'd be curious about that. So then the deepest state would be delta, and delta is when you're in deep sleep. So yeah, the brain states are pretty fascinating. It's also you can activate your pineal gland when it gets activated in these states. You release DMT, and then you can have incredible journeys listening to a sound session of these pure tones of sound.
Well, and that's important to that's important to understand because of how our world has been hijacked as far as sound goes, and the frequency that we're existing in all the time is meant to keep us from ever tapping into that frequency and discovering everything that you just spoke of. Where music is what is that hertz? Do you know that like music is tuned to?
432. 440 is what the negative one.
That's right.
432 is what it should be.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Like it's done intentionally to keep us kind of suppressed, basically. Yeah. But it's also not good for us, because when we're existing in that frequency, the benevolent one, it's healing. It's healing. And we may not suffer the ailments that we do if everything was just tuned to a different frequency.
I want to say something. What I think is so great is that we are the most powerful sound healing tool we have. Our body, our voice, our own voice. So when we're feeling a little funky, and this is something I do often, every morning in the shower. I love the shower because water is a really great, and bath, if you're in a bathtub, water is a really high conductor of for intuition and for these kinds of brain waves. So if you're in the shower, start to sing and tone. And if you start with the low tones, like, oh, and you go up and you're singing through your body, you can actually feel where there are parts in your body that are stuck. And then you just stay there and keep toning in this place. And your own voice can give you the hertz or the vibrations or the tones that you need. And you can feel it, when you get a catch in your throat, that, that's how our English language tells us, like, I have a catch in my throat. Then sing in the throat or just tone in this area. And because wherever you place your attention is where the intention of healing will go. So just place your attention in that places in your body where the sound is catching and tone there. And you can put yourself into the hertz or that sound that is best at that time. And humming, I tell my students all the time, one of the simplest things in my clients is to hum, and that you can walk down the street humming and you're resonating your internal cavity, your chest, your whole body, your bones, and you're literally retuning your body. So humming, and then it also lifts your spirit.
Well, if you start hearing me humming and singing in the shower, you know why.
Yeah. And then another caveat to that is that, we think sometimes that the way we sound or we tone needs to be beautiful. But honestly, if you're going to find that place where, like, you've got a stomach ache, or you have your knee hurts, or Tyler, your back, or whatever, you've got Aaron going on, if you've got a tight shoulders or something.
No, Aaron doesn't have body pain. It's unfair.
He's jealous of me.
I don't understand it.
He's nimble. I think that's where all the CBD oil's going.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you just go to that. You just put your attention on that part of your body and tune into it and start to make the sound that you think that body would want to make. So you're giving it a verbal handshake. So it might sound like, and just go with it and let your back or that tightness have a voice and speak, and it will shift. Your voice will shift. And as your voice is shifting, you're tuning your body and bringing it into harmony. It's amazing. That's where the shamanic part comes in. But we can all do this. It's fun. So I say play with sound.
Well, and it's also important, like right now, I'm noticing a common theme is the throat chakra. People, like most people are going through their awakening when they go get a Reiki healing, let's say, or something like that. The most common thing that comes up is their throat chakra is blocked because we haven't found our voice yet. We're afraid to speak our truth because of what other people think, because of what that might mean for our own reality. If we start telling people what we believe in or who we voted for or whatever it might be. So it's important to work on that throat chakra and find your voice and step into your power right now. And when you do that, your world will change, because it changed for me, and I'm living example of it. Because as soon as you start speaking your truth, the people who don't belong in your life will fall away, but the people that do will make their way towards you, and they'll come out of nowhere, and you'll have a new tribe that will actually assist you through your awakening.
Yeah, community is really, really important. The throat chakra and also the solar plexus, which is like our middle of our body down right here. A lot of people are struggling with that right now too. It's our personal power. And, in regards to what's happening on the planet right now, as the vibrations are raising and we're moving up right now, as we are getting closer to December 21st and really everything up leveling, astrologically, what we're doing is important for us to do is clearing out trauma in our body. So I've been having lots of stomach stuff, and that is stuff that has to get cleared out. We don't have to know exactly what it might be related to. Sometimes it's past lives, but to add the element of sound to that, to let it move, is really helpful, and to be really compassionate with yourself, because things are coming up and they have to come up to be cleared within ourselves, and then we can open our hearts a lot easier. And I guess when you find yourself choking on your throat chakra, I really should say something, and it was my place forever. So to have light language start blasting out of me was pretty insane.
Yeah, we need to get into that too, because that's absolutely fascinating to me. We've had Valentina Reese on in the past. She's also a light language healer. I don't know if that's what you call them, a light language speaker. Yeah. It was really fascinating. Aaron, you had a session with her, right? So did I.
Yep.
The reason I was even compelled to reach out to her was because of downloads I have received. They stopped now, but at one point in my life, almost every night at the same time, I was being woken up, told to close my eyes again, and I was getting the downloads of light language, but it was coming at me visually in symbols. It was just coming, I don't even know, it was just coming into my head like this. And I didn't know what it was at first. I didn't know how to explain it. Then I discovered what light language was. It was still all new. It was all new to me. And I just became fascinated with it. I've even done some wood burnings of some symbols that I remember. I don't know what they mean, but I don't think, from what I understand, you're not really supposed to know what they mean. It's just how they feel. what you feel from that symbol. It's like an energetic exchange or energy signature. And yeah, would you mind touching on that, please?
So there's so many things in there. The light language is the symbols, and I started painting and drawing light language when I was about 20 years old and knew it was something sacred. But back in those days, we couldn't really talk about things like this. So I just did it. And so most people start by either speaking it or seeing it. Everybody has their own way and everybody can do it. It's, it's available to everybody. But each symbol is like a encyclopedia in a certain way. So even though I'm going to show you one here, okay, a little bit.
Please.
I don't know. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Okay. So that's one that I painted for a client. And then I have, when we go to Peru, or when I ran upstairs, I found these are from Peru, from some of the sacred places in Peru that, this is kind of what they look like, but they also can be really geometric and whatnot. But each symbol is like a symbol in the Akashic records, sort of. It can unfold over time. It has so many layers, and it's not just, two-dimensional like that. It's multidimensional, and they move and they spin in space, and they will open up with new messages for you as time goes on. So they're loaded with information. They're codes of light, is how I think of them. They're codes of light.
It's almost like they contain like some type of ancient wisdom or something, and it's just stored there until we're at a place on our journey where we're ready for that information. And then it kind of just trickles in, and all of a sudden we know something. We don't know where it came from. I don't know how I know that, but I do. Maybe that's how that works. Yeah.
And often, sometimes in meditation, people will see them. Well, I have had the symbols raining down like you did.
Yeah.
And they're called light language symbols because they often appear like light against a dark background when you see them, I guess, but there are 5 earth languages, light languages that are still on earth. And light languages, it's a multi universal, it's like a cosmic language. So just like we have a lot of dialects here on the planet, there are dialects all over the universe. And so the Pleiadians have a dialect, the Arcturians have a dialect, the fairies and the Devic kingdom and the plant kingdom has a dialect. And there's like, you can have shamans from other dimensions speaking through you. You can have your guides speaking to you in light language. So one of the gifts that I have that everybody has, like I want to make sure that we all know that, is when you really open up in this way and start using your voice and not being afraid, opening up your throat chakra and toning and whatever, and meditation, singing, chanting. When it comes through, you can tell because it's just flowing through, and you can tell sometimes where it comes from, that it's off planet or it's earth-based languages. But the 5 that are still on the planet, or, pretty much on the planet, that we would recognize are Hebrew. So, those letters of light, and ancient Egyptian, Mayan, see if I can remember, ancient Chinese, and Sanskrit. And you can see in a lot of, particularly in the ancient Chinese characters or in the Sanskrit or the Hebrew letters, you can see how they really look and are light language.
Yeah, I never thought about those being a light language before. Really interesting.
Yeah. So it's also, when I like to tell people it's benevolent when it's coming through in that way. At least it is. Well, let's see. I want to say, but before I start doing a session, and I sign light language too when I'm working sometimes over somebody, because you can sign the symbols in the air. So some people do it like that. And when I'm speaking it, your heart, like you said, Tyler, your brain doesn't understand it, but your heart receives it, and your heart knows. So you receive it in that way. And I've had people say, "Oh my God, you just sang a song I've heard several times growing up in my dreams." And,
Wow.
So it's like soul song too. It's a soul language.
That's really interesting. Wow. It's interesting that you say like Egypt and Hebrew and Sanskrit and all that stuff is a light language, Mayan, because like you don't think of it as a light language when it's physically here on Earth and we can go look at it on an ancient temple. You don't think of it as a light language. You think of it as like something from out of this world, even though it is when you understand the history. But it's interesting because one of my experiences was that instead of it was basically like files being downloaded. It's like pages of light language. But instead of that happening one night, I found myself like almost on another planet, but all of the signs and the building signs and the street signs and everything was in this language. And I was looking around, I couldn't read anything. I was just trying to figure out where I was, and it ended pretty quickly. But it's interesting. It's interesting to think, because that could have been on another planet, right?
Oh, absolutely. I was just I don't remember what it was. Look, I was going down the rabbit hole like I love to do. So on Mars, oh, you know what it was? It was John Vivanco talking about the Mayan civilization on Mars. That's what it was. And when I saw that, I was thinking, and you were just talking about it, if the Mayans were the culture that came from the planet Mars before it, and some of them came here when the planet was like exploded, or I can't remember what exactly happened to it. The red planet.
Some type of event happened like around 1900. I know on Mars, our time But well, prior,
this probably before that. Yeah.
Before that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But they would have had, that's what their street signs would look like on Mars. I have no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Or any other planet. It's just interesting. I don't know. It's all fascinating to me. And I'm sure as time goes on, maybe more will be unlocked and I'll figure it out and understand it. But I think this is all part of the process, the journey to truth, right?
Oh, absolutely. So I tell people when they're wanting to open up to this is to, to find a safe place. Maybe the shower is a place, or your car is a place, to just start, not with the radio, but just start humming and singing and chanting, or like speaking nonsense. So if you speak nonsense, you are in effect helping to open up your throat chakra, because your mind isn't just babble, whatever, just make it up.
So if somebody cuts you off, just start speaking nonsense to them.
Yeah. Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it'll open up your throat chakra. So the more we use our voice, like you were saying, and another interesting thing is sometimes when I'm driving, the driving fast, it's like, because light language and spirit things and those sorts of things, they're at a higher frequency, so they're literally at a higher frequency. And when we're physically moving faster, it's almost like and we're in a gratitude place. Like if we're feeling gratitude in your car, you're moving fast. I've had this experience where a new light language will just drop in, and I'll just start speaking it like crazy, and it's in my car. And I have a feeling that the speed of the car has something to do with it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. We never, it's interesting that the things that you don't consider being responsible for things that happen to you, like that, like the speed of the car might have everything to do with that specific language coming in. It's interesting. It's very,
you have to go 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, 80. Yeah. Well, no, it's just good to get to a point where you're observing things like that.
Yeah.
Right? Because whenever you can live your life and be observing, even the way you act and how you respond to things, that's key. That's how you can actually start to grow, when you're aware of yourself and instead of just emotionally reacting to everything.
Oh, absolutely. I also have this experience of walking down the street and just being, my normal self, I guess. And then I'll pass somebody, or I'll pass a place, talking about maybe vortexes, and I'll start speaking light language just spontaneously. And it has everything to do with the place that I've just walked by or the person I've just walked by.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. So going back a little bit to what we were talking about earlier about what's happening right now on this planet and the healing that we're all going through. Like I've been going through some of the darkest times of my life, actually. But it's all been beautiful because I'm understanding. I'm in a place now in my journey where I understand why this stuff is happening to me, so I can actually learn from it and grow from it. I think the whole planet is going through that, essentially, right? And everybody is going through something right now. And I think the reason I'm bringing this up is it's important to seek out people like you to start doing this type of healing and figuring out what's going on with us. And you never know what type of healing, sound healing, Reiki, whatever it might be that you need that's going to unlock something for your journey. And I don't know, do you have any like advice for people out there going through this stuff right now? Like, what can we do? What can we do? Because it's not easy. It's not easy right now.
No, it's not. It's not easy at all. So my advice would be, what really helps me is to stop in the moment where my mind's going like, whatever, the heaviness, if you're feeling that real heaviness, and just start to like really feel gratitude for what you feel around you. And it can be, I am so grateful that there's sun shining through the window right now. I am so grateful that I, have a warm home. I am so grateful that even though I don't have a warm home, I have a warm car to sleep in. I am so grateful for the sun and the sound of the leaves in the trees. And as soon as you can just you're just moving your vibration up a little bit, and gratitude is a great elevator for elevating you. And it could be like you feel so terrible. You could even think, I feel so terrible, but I have gratitude for the fact that I can feel that I'm human right now, and I can feel that. And what else can I feel? It's really important to start taking really good care of ourselves and go outside. I've been touching the trees a lot more, hugging the trees. That sounds crazy, but it's not crazy. Go hug a tree, put your head against the tree, and start to breathe with the tree or breathe with a plant. We're breathing out oxygen. We're breathing out carbon dioxide, and they're exchanging oxygen with us. And hello, oxygen's really important for us right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially people who are masked up. We need to breathe and be in nature and touch and breathe with a tree and hug it, touch it if you don't have anything else to touch.
That's all great advice. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, they're literally trying to take away our right to breathe right now. You can't, I can't even go to the gym and work out without wearing a mask, which I've said this before, but I'm not going to fail that IQ test. I'm not going to go in there and work out with a mask on, and you're not you're not doing your body any favors at that point. What's the purpose of that? So I like that. I've never thought about like breathing into the tree like that. That's a very powerful exchange. They're adding 15 houses. They're doing a 15 house extension in my subdivision, and they cleared an entire wooded area. And it's just so sad to me to see that happen, because it's like there's hardly any wooded areas left in where we live. And if I put it on Google Maps and I look down on it, And I was like, it's the one green spot that's left. And now they cleared it. It's like they're just taking every single area. There's so many places to expand to, but they're just trying to compact and cram everybody into the tiniest little area. And I mean, that's all done by design, obviously, to make it seem,
get out of the cities,
make it seem overpopulated, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, so we were talking about ECETI just a minute ago, and when I was last there was for John's remote viewing class in October.
Yeah, I think it was October. Yeah, because we just left. We were there.
We were there in September,
but his class was in October. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We had just left, and it was like a weekend after or something.
Yeah. So we remote viewed the mountain, and that night the mountain lit up, the inner earth, you know, the doors were opening and the lights were coming out. It was really phenomenal. But I just wanted to say that because I was recently in Utah camping in a canyon there at the full moon at the end of October.
That wasn't a canyon with the monolith, was it?
No.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about. That was a brilliant move by those artists, by the way. That was pretty brilliant.
They got everybody talking.
I know. And now they're selling them. So
there's one that popped up in California, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, $45,000, and it can be yours. Each one of them.
Oh, wow.
It's funny that people get so excited about that, and that can trend. But when like any type of like ET disclosure hits the mainstream, it's just crickets. It's funny what people are like, why are people so drawn to that? It's because when they tell you something's real, then the mystery is gone. It's no longer exciting. So maybe there's that mysterious element.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
It's also because most of the ET disclosure they put out there is like the boring stuff. They're like, oh, look at this craft.
Yeah, it's like yawn almost.
Oh, we think aliens exist, and then we're like, I think most people already pretty much know that, or
it's like the same.
Yeah, they probably do, but
it's the same broken.
That's the question.
The same broken record we've been hearing for like decades now.
Yeah, you know? It's just like
I know.
Not full disclosure, which is what we need and what we're pushing for. And
we're gonna have it. We're gonna be jumping around.
It's coming.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say that was so amazing is in this canyon in Utah at night, you know, under the full moon, it was like, first of all, there are Pueblo cliff dwellings that are hundreds of years old, way up in the canyons that nobody could get to, and I was staring across the way and sending out like just so much, I was just so full of appreciation for the moon and the place. And I was pretty high, just on the high vibes. And I was looking across the way, and this light came out of the walls. And because of the experience at ECETI and watching the lights in Mount Adams, I knew exactly what it was. So I was just sending love to it, and it would signal back brighter and brighter. It was in a place where there's no humans there. There's absolutely no humans. And anyway, so like, how can we make ourselves feel better? It's like, remember that this isn't everything. Go out. Like, there are beings all around us all the time. We can connect with them. We just have to ask for them to show up. You know, our teams I call my spirit guides my spirit team, my team, and call them in and ask for help, from like, if you don't feel very well, to I lost my car keys team, like I need some help finding them, and then just let go and see where your body takes you, and you'll be led right to the thing that you need. Just you have to ask for help.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I'm so glad you said that. That's something I've actually been recently doing. Because I got to a point where, you know, you're going through something. Sometimes you get distracted, and then I stopped, and I was like, why am I not communicating with my guides anymore? Like, it was something I did all the time, and I had just gotten away from it. And I started just recently doing that again, and it's powerful. Yeah, but I don't just like sit there and think about it. Like, if I'm alone, I just start talking out loud, and then most of the time, what happens, or if while I'm driving, I'm talking to them. Sometimes I'm angry, you know, just whatever. It's like I'm having a conversation with somebody, whoever it is, I don't know. But what happens is you end up answering your own questions sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you start channeling your higher self, I think, in a weird way or something. And you can solve a lot of problems that way, just by like being in the shower. I'll start talking and I'll be like asking why did this happen, and all of a sudden the answer will come to me. I never thought of it, but it's because you open yourself up to that channel. When you do that, you've set the intention on what you're trying to achieve, and however that appears in your life might be different than it works for me, but it does happen. It that can help you.
Yeah, it happened to me several times today.
Yeah.
And I think it's so what I would like to add to that is that when it happens that you have the result, or your prayers literally are answered, to say thank you, thank you, and say it out loud.
Thank you.
Because they like to hear that out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have a good sense of humor too.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Well, I mean, that's one thing I started off doing when I got into this and I was learning about meditation and communicating. Everything was so robotic for me, and I was trying to do it like a prayer, like something I was familiar with from church. And then I was like, this is stupid. Like I started just acting like I was having a conversation with a normal person and not somebody above me,
Right.
because that's how I was doing it at first. Like, is somebody more power, like somebody is better out there, better than me. So as soon as I started
giving your power away.
Yeah, as soon as I started communicating with my guides like they were a real person, and just like we're talking now, that's when I started seeing the results.
That's so important it's like seeing eye to eye with them, and they think so highly of us because we're we're incarnated in the physical on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So they honor us, and we're also here as we can be what I like to think of as like acupuncture needles for that energy to come and move into the earth. And when we are in a great mood, or we're in a high vibration state, or whatever, those are the times when it's the best to manifest, and really literally you can affect everything around you that way. I don't know how I got off on that, but
that's how it works. You just got to
yeah.
follow wherever the conversation takes you sometimes,
It's important. Yeah.
We've had guests on where we're supposed to be covering one topic and we ended up covering something totally different, but it was amazing because that's what was called for at that moment for whatever reason. I just realized I've been playing with this piece of skolosite. It's a crystal.
I was wondering if you're.
Oh, beautiful.
So,
Yeah.
About that.
It's something were you?
Yeah, you just had it sitting there.
Well, it's something I've been carrying around. It's actually a heavy stone, but I've been keeping it in my pocket. I've been sleeping with it. I don't know why. I'm just being called to this crystal, and I know skolosite is used for connecting with ETs, basically, or communicating with the star people. I guess there's how crystals are. There's a whole list of things, but this one in particular, and that's what I've been trying to get back to, because things happen in life that distract us, and we get pulled away from things that we should be doing. So I've been guided to carry this around, and it seems to be like my best friend lately. I'm not sure what it's actually doing for me, but it feels comfortable. So I've been holding it and keeping it with me. And I was just curious, like, do you work with any crystals when you do your healing? I'm sure.
I do. And I also have a crystal that I'm carrying around in my pocket. I have them in my pockets and I sleep with them too. That's kind of I work with crystals, and the singing bowls are they are crystalline also. They're like 98% pure quartz crystal, and then they have gemstones infused in them.
Yeah.
But I also use crystals too. So I have a really big crystal. Oh, it's behind me. I'll show you.
Yeah, grab it, please.
Here, this guy. So a crystal like this, I carry with me to all the sacred sites I visit, but also in my sound healing session, sometimes I'll take this and direct the point towards the person or the area of the body. And then you can sound over the crystal, just tone over the crystal and the sound and the frequency and the crystal, because crystals they hold information. That's this is a million-year-old computer right here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the whole crystal skull mystery. Like, what kind of information are they holding? What's locked? How do you access it? But I think it's kind of the same. I don't think they might not be much different than any of the crystals. All of these crystals hold the information. And what's interesting,
we're crystal. Our pineal gland is a little crystal in a little tiny bed of water. That's our crystal.
I was just getting ready to bring up the pineal gland because you were pointing that tower, and somebody had told me one time you take 2 of those and you can actually put them on each side of your pineal gland, and then there's like a whole little, like, do this like 7 times or whatever, but it's like creating a beam through your pineal gland. It's like activates your pineal gland. And I used to do that but you know how you forget sometimes? So, like, you forget. I stopped doing it for a while. I learned it while we were in Hawaii for Cosmic Waves. And I did it for a while after that and totally forgot about it until I just saw you pointed at me like a gun. I was like, oh yeah.
Try this.
Yeah.
Well, here's another cool thing you can do with sound and your pineal, because our pineal glands get calcified from everything from like fluoride and chemicals and, chemtrails. Yeah. Is you can pitch really high. I won't do it. I don't think it's probably a good idea on the mic. Well, maybe we'll see. But if you pitch really high, like that high, like really pitch high, your tongue will go to the top of your palate. It will direct the high pitch up. It'll vibrate the sphenoid bone of your palate. It'll vibrate your pineal gland. It'll like vibrate it and help to decalcify it. So those high pitched sounds are the pineal sounds.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I was just thinking while you were saying that, last week, I don't know, whoever's listening, they know we had Melissa Corona on, the Giuliani's whistleblower. And like, it's so funny. Aaron and I were talking about the difference in like how we just took a 180 from covering that to covering something like this, and how both are so relevant right now. And, it's crazy for the people who had just tuned in last week for the first time, thinking that we're like, like some channel covering like Q and politics. But then if they're tuning in this week, they're gonna be like, what the hell's going on?
Like, is this the same channel?
Yeah. I just think it's really cool that we're able to be that.
It's all part of the big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
But this is the deeper stuff. This is like the real. This is the real
also
stuff.
It is. And it's also important, though, I've had people criticize me, like, Irene, you're so loving and you're so this and so full of light. How can you be concerned about these dark things that are going on? Why do you think these dark things are going on in the world? And the truth is, we have to see it all. The shadow helps define, light and shadow help define things. And we have to look at the shadow so that we can heal it and move it, because it is really dark and it is upsetting. We can't look away, because it's the world is, like,
you can't bypass your way to enlightenment is the way I like to sum it up, which is what a lot of, unfortunately, spiritual people try to do. They try to bypass their way to enlightenment and ascension, and they're literally holding themselves back by doing that, because you're, like you said, you got to look at the shadow. You can't just ignore it and hope it'll go away, or hope it doesn't exist because you're ignoring it, because you're literally bypassing the things you're supposed to look at and transmute.
Speak it, Aaron.
So it's what we're seeing on the collective level right now is the mass shadow darkness that's been here. It's been here, but now it's being brought up to be acknowledged and cleared and dealt with. But if you stick your head in the sand and you're like, no, it doesn't exist, because if you're creating it, if you acknowledge it, or it's like, no, it's already there. It's you gotta, if you don't deal with it, you're letting it fester even more. and just get worse and worse and worse until you have no choice but to, it's like how hard you want to make it on yourself to deal with it. You can deal with it, or you can let it keep festering, and then it's going to get worse and worse. But yeah, that's what we're seeing happen right now. It's everything's being brought up to be cleared, but it's about not getting caught up in dwelling on that negative energy and the fear, all of that stuff, which is what unfortunately a lot of people are doing. And we're seeing the split of people that are getting really, really fearful and caught up in the negative vibration, and then we're seeing the awakening happen with the rest of the people.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's true. Like, and I've seen people like that don't want to, like, you try and show them some of this stuff that's going on. Like, look do you realize this is happening? And like, I can't look at that. I don't want to see that, that blah, blah, blah. That is them going in fight or flight mode. They're being scared of the truth because of how it will affect their reality. Once they're aware of it, then, there's like almost a moral obligation now to do something about it. You can't keep living the way you were once you discover some of these truths. So, and it's scary for people because it's going to shatter their reality and their relationships and whatever else in their little bubble that they're so comfortable with. That comfort zone is just blown apart. And, it's a scary place to be, but that's where we grow. That's where we step into our power. We're all going through self-discovery right now. You can't ignore that shadow. Like you said, face it, because that's actually your biggest teacher, believe it or not.
It is. It's why we came here.
Exactly.
This is Earth School. It's dense here. That's why we came.
Well, and a lot of people actually signed, apparently, according to like Dolores Cannon and stuff like that, like we signed up to be here for this, right? Yeah. And like we were like, some of us were actually lucky enough to get a spot, like to be alive in this time, for lack of a better term. Like there were people wanting to be here for this, and they like didn't make the cut, let's say. So we like signed up for this. This is something we all wanted to do. We all wanted to be here during this time so we can assist in this shift and be a part of it, because this is historic. And can you imagine what it would be like to be living on another planet in another life sometime, and to be able to talk about what we did here on Earth, and then, telling stories to our grandchildren on another planet or something.
Oh, you're giving me chills. You're making me that's an emotional thought. Yeah, we are here for this right now. I know that.
Yeah. So many people try to connect with their ETs and try and do these spiritual practices that take you away from the human experience, like it's a bad thing. Like we're down here to experience all this. That's why we're here, not to escape it, but to be in it.
Yeah, because being in this density and when we come up with our struggles, and I've had some like really, like everybody, but I've had some pretty intense struggles, and they have been my best teachers. You just think, can it get any worse? Really, can it get any worse? But those are the things that when you get on the other side, you feel really grateful for, because they pushed you through. Or like when you're down in the bottom, there's some things that you feel like, what could go, why wouldn't I take a chance right now? What's the worst that can happen? It feels like the worst already happened. What's the worst that can happen? And then you see that it's all an illusion, and it's all part of what you've created for your own lessons, Now
I'm getting chills.
Yeah, but it's hard, when you're in the dumps and things are not so great. It's easy to go into victim mode. It's okay. Just catch yourself or let yourself have those angry moments. You gotta let go through. You have to let the trauma move through you. You can't hold on to it. And then as it moves through you, then you're clear, kind of like clear for takeoff.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
You just kind of summed up exactly what I've been going through. And yeah, that's great advice. That's perfect advice, actually. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, well, we're all doing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think about this voter fraud?
Wow.
Yeah, change the
This
subject.
Oh my God. Every day I'm
right
so,
angle turn.
every day, every like, I don't know, 50 times a day, I look and like, what's happening now? Oh my God. Well, what I think is, is what you think too, is that I imagine is that it has to be so bad that so people can really see. We were talking about earlier about how, Aaron, you were talking about how, people try not to see the shadow, or they, it's like, I don't want to really look at that,
It's too scary. It's too scary for a lot of people to acknowledge or look at.
Everybody has to look at this. This is gonna, even people who, like, we've been following this, and it's still going to be shocking, right? It's how we're all going to wake up.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I say. Even those of us who are aware of it, I think we're all going to be shocked on some level when some of this stuff finally does truly surface.
Well, so kind of like the level of disclosure of all the darkness that's been going on the planet for such a long time. The problem is it's so dark. It's, there's been so much just things most people can't even imagine were going on. And it's so bad and dark and extensive that like it can't be dropped on everyone all at once, or like it would cause a lot of people to
commit suicide.
Go crazy, or like just mass chaos. And one, chaos to a certain degree, obviously we're seeing happen, and that needs to happen for this, these energies are causing it, and the old is going away and the new is coming, and it's causing all this chaos, and it's waking people up, and that needs to happen. But it has to be a process at the same time. And but a lot of people aren't, like you said, don't want to look at a lot of things because it's too scary to think that could be going on, or they live on a world, or their whole life basically has been a lie. Like most of the things they've been believing have been lies, and all this child trafficking and pedophilia, and the list goes on and on, unfortunately. And but it's going to come out because it has to, because everything's being exposed right now. We're in the time of the great revealing, apocalypse. That's what it actually means. It doesn't mean the end of the world. It means the great revealing and uncovering of everything. Nothing can stay hidden. So we're being forced to deal with it with our own shadow. It's kind of like the as above, so below. It's like at the collective level, it's being revealed, and then we're being forced to deal with our own shadows at the same time. And a lot of people are having a hard time with that. And some less than others, but it's happening to all of us.
Yeah.
So we're all in this together. Yeah.
You say like it's going to be unimaginable. It's unimaginable what's taking place on this planet behind the scenes, and it's going to be unimaginable for people because we've been lied to about what this place actually is, and why we're here, and who we are. Mm-hmm. It is literally stuff from like myth and legend and folklore and black magic. Everything you've seen in a science fiction movie or a horror film is real. And these elites know that. There are secret space programs. There are, satanic cults that run the planet.
We've literally been lied to about literally everything. Just literally, including the true history of the planet and the nature of the universe, and
not to mention the other races of beings and creatures and ETs that are living beneath our feet.
They've actually been here.
They've been here the whole time. And to try and explain to somebody what's going on this planet who doesn't have an understanding of what's going on this planet, really, it's not going to register. That's why you can't just throw this stuff on people, because it's going to be so shocking. It's going to be so shocking if you don't believe in any of this stuff. You don't even have to believe in it, but you have to at least consider it,
Yeah. My sweet boyfriend, he's like, he keeps telling me there's no way that there's fraud. I can't believe you think, these are our elections. I'm like, oh no.
I've talked to some people, same thing. Yeah.
What is going to happen to all the people that think that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna find out eventually when it all comes out. Some are gonna stay in denial probably, and who knows how the mainstream's gonna
twist it and turn
spin
it
as Trump stealing. I'm sure they're gonna.
They already say that.
They're already saying that. Yeah,
Trump stole the election.
They're gonna say he stole the election, and then you're gonna have the far left go crazy with that.
No, they are saying that he stole the election. Somebody was on their phone and you know how to get the fact checking that say.
I thought they're saying Biden won though. So
yeah, but somebody screenshot it and shared it. It was a notification saying Trump stole the election, blah 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 blah. Like,
oh, they're already getting ready to put that out.
They're already putting it out.
They know it's coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They're gonna pull out all the stops.
But yeah, so I mean, there's going to be another round of like probably riots and all that craziness because the media is going to be stoking the fire on that. Like, Trump stole the election.
I've been curious if we'll have another false flag. I mean,
I'm sure they're going to try.
What do you think? I mean, it could be this UFO thing that they've been starting to talk about.
Well, I mean, this whole virus is a false flag.
Yeah,
the whole
the
whole planet is under a false flag right now, which is funny. Yeah. The UFO thing, I think, was a potential. I don't know what's going to happen.
They're wanting to do more lockdowns and stricter everything, But until all these criminals get taken away finally, and we don't have corrupt criminal politicians.
Corrupt judges.
It's on all levels. Yeah. Implementing these things and forcing us to close our businesses and to wear masks and destroying the economy and destroying people's lives, and they can't feed their families because they don't have a job anymore. It's just so crazy.
Yeah, you can't eat in a restaurant, but like all the restaurants are closed down in our area again. It's like nuclear holocaust here. It's retarded, but. That you can't be eating in a restaurant, but you can sure as hell get on a plane and be sardined.
But you can go to Walmart with 1 million people, or a grocery store. Yeah,
as long as you're feeling. They're not gonna. They know where their money comes from, and it doesn't come from the small businesses, so they don't care about them. It's like the whole thing that happened with Napster back when the music industry. When Napster took over and all the people were able to download music for free, I truly believe that was another deep state operation to funnel all the music into like 5 or 6 major labels so they can control the type of music that comes out.
So the only people that go out of business are the smaller labels.
The independent labels. Yeah, exactly. And
it's the same type
it's
of
the same exact thing that's happening now with the small businesses. The mom and pop store is shut down that never has more than 20 people in it at one time anyway. And then Target or Walmart's open across the street.
Yeah, it's all about control and further suppression of freedoms. And but it's ultimately a good thing too, because it's like it's forcing people to wake up and to step into their power and say and to be like, this is what I'm standing for truth and freedom, and forcing us to come together also. And it's kind of like it's like it's like the universe being like, all right guys, like everyone's gonna have to make a decision now, no more complacency, and it's forcing us to deal with so much stuff and bringing up so much to the surface to deal with.
And then as soon as you do put your foot down, they'll be like, well, okay, you don't like it? Here's a vaccine.
But it's also forcing humanity to be like, all right, are you guys going to keep giving your power away to these corrupt leaders that tell you what to do and run your lives? Are you going to start governing yourselves and standing up for yourselves? And it's stop giving your power away basically to governments and corrupt leaders, and start living your life the way you want to live it.
Well,
we're all sovereign beings, but now we're being forced to step into that. Either acknowledge that and step into it, or keep being like, oh, save me or help me, or keep giving your power away to whoever, you know. But I'm seeing a big split of that, because you're seeing so many people, the ones more in fear are not only going along with everything, but like shaming people who aren't, and like getting mad if you don't wear a mask or if you don't do this or that, and screaming at people. I've been screamed at and
they've threatened to call the police on me for not wearing a mask. But anyway, we've kind of taken the spot. We've kind of taken this. We've taken the spotlight off of her. We've been talking.
No, but I like what you're saying, because you know what I've been thinking about is, isn't it? Don't you think in a certain way it's about seeing how far they can push us? Like, okay, see if they'll go for this.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's take it a little bit further and tell them they have to do this, and everybody's doing it. That's what I just can't believe it. So why are people? I don't know if I should do this or not, but I kind of want to have a sign or something that says, why are you walking your dog by yourself at night with a mask on outside in the rain? You know, why are you doing that? Why are you walking with a mask on in the woods by yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's becoming so obvious, kind of the mental programs and brainwashing that people have been under. And to me, like the planet, so many people on the planet have been under these programs and this mind control, essentially is what it is, for so long, with what they believe and the things they do, because they're told what to believe and what to do, right, by the media or by institutions and stuff. But now it's becoming so obvious, the people that are very, very stuck in that and cannot think for themselves. Like so many people on the planet literally cannot think for themselves, no matter what. They're just too stuck in the 3D matrix.
They're afraid to stray away from the program. They're like,
and it's all based in fear.
I've literally had people tell me, why can't you just stick with the program, not realizing that like it's an actual program.
And that's why these people get triggered so bad when they see you not going with the program, because it triggers their fear, and they have to lash out at you because it's triggering that in them, because they're so stuck in this fear and this program.
Yeah.
Don't you think, you know, another thing that's weird is like, what happened, you know, in the 60s, everybody was, you know, like everybody was standing up and being an individual and, you know, free love freedom. And, you know, trying to really be an individual.
Well, that got squashed by the cabal, essentially.
Yeah. So now everybody is in lockstep. Everybody's in lockstep with what we're told to do. And it doesn't even make sense, you know? And so I think it's important to use, like, to walk, like I make a point to not wear a mask when I'm outside. Mm-hmm. And I don't have to. If I have to go in the store, I wear the mask. I have the sort of most minimal mask you can have.
The fake mask.
Yeah,
exactly. But it, anyway, because there's the science about the masks too. But why is everybody all of a sudden, you know, now everybody's going to be taking the vaccine, or they're going to tell us that we have to have the vaccine, or we can't get on a plane, or we can't go to work, or we can't go to school, or we can't do anything.
You can't.
And then it's like, that's the highest level of how far can you push everybody. And if most people go for it, then we're screwed. Because what should happen is you stand up and say, my body, my body, myself.
The left is all about my body, my choice, until it comes to what they get programmed.
Until it comes to your body
to believe with vaccines.
Until it comes
to virtue signaling, and you have to do this because the authorities tell you to, and to be safe, and to and then it's like, well, it's still my body. So now you're saying, because of that, I don't have a choice. So it's like, you can't pick and choose what you apply your own principles to, you know.
You can't apply logic to anything that's happening right now, because there's no logic to any of it. You'll just go crazy.
Any of it. It's insanity. It really is. But so many people are so deep in this mind control that they can't, like I said, they can't think for themselves. And they're running these programs that they're being programmed with by the media, mostly the media or politicians or whatever.
Yeah.
And
So
when you wake up out of that though, then you can see it. But when you're in that you can't see it.
That's
you're
true.
So in it, you just like and it's, it's tied to ego and it's tied to fear and people's traumas and stuff. Yeah. And they really play on that to really get people to grip on tight to the programming and to all this stuff.
Yeah.
But that's why it's so important to heal, because when you heal all those things, then you're a lot harder to be programmed. And because then you don't have the fear that you're like gripping on to, oh yeah, we need to do that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I need to, you're no longer, you watch the media and you're like this, you just kind of like, you see it for what it is. It's like, oh, look at this propaganda and, mind control programming, which is
so obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so obvious.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've beaten that horse.
Yeah. I get worked up about this stuff.
I know. But that's it. That's also a thing we have to be aware of too. Like, don't let it get, because as soon as you get worked up about it, then you're feeding it energy and you're not helping yourself anymore.
But also you gotta speak your truth, and stand up for don't be afraid to speak your mind and your truth, but don't get too caught up in the drama and the, like you said. And
you can laugh at it. Sometimes I just laugh and I think, okay, this is a joke we're playing.
That's the best thing to do, really. Like you said, just laugh at it.
It's like Halloween, we're wearing masks.
Yeah. Well, Irene, I guess we'll start wrapping this up. We've been going for a little while here. Where can people find you? Where can people book sessions with you? I know you do like sound bath, like courses, or I don't even know what you want. Do you want to tell people what you do?
Yeah.
And how they can find you?
Sure. So every Tuesday night, every week I do a live broadcast, and there's a link. I put a link in there for Crowdcast, or if you go to the Seattle Sound Temple website, you can sign up there, and it's sliding scale, and we have a phenomenal sound system. We've really nailed it. I'm really proud of our team. So it's almost like being here live with the sound, and I'm channeling light language. And this month for December in particular, we're really getting prepared for December 21st when we're having this winter solstice sound event, and you can sign up for that too. I teach. I think I've not wanted to teach online because so much of it is human to human and that sort of transmission piece. But I'm dedicated to teaching this June, and I'd love to teach it. He said he would not be fun, but I'd like to find a big place to teach in June when we can teach, when we can be person to person. Let's see. So that's a really great way to find us, the Seattle Sound Temple, and keep abreast. Also, we sell the singing bowls. I'll show you one.
Yes. Yeah, they're beautiful. Yeah.
And we work with people around the world and sell them. And each one of these is a gem infused instrument, really, and to sing with and kind of open up your heart and your voice. So we do those. They're all made in the U.S., by the way. They're made in Salt Lake City, one at a time. And I go handpick them from the place that they're made. So
beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. It's important to know where the energy, it's important to know where anything you own comes from.
Yeah. Crystals.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. Like the whole blood crystal concept, you're aware of that. Like, now since it's becoming like this new age spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it, like Walmart and Target and all these places have crystals now, but these aren't crystals.
Oh no, they do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
These aren't crystals that they aren't ethically sourced. Let's just put it that way. They're mined under slave conditions. So now it's like the blood diamond, but it's the blood crystal. Like, you want to know where your crystals come from when you buy them. I always ask, like, if I'm in a crystal shop, Like, and it's best when you find the people who like get them directly sourced from the miners or wherever, or go mine them themselves or whatever. And you know the story behind it. It's just something to be aware of for people who don't think about that when they buy crystals.
You know, I would just add to that if you have a crystal, when you buy a crystal, it's really important you can clear it. So what I always do is I put it outside in the moonlight, or put it on the ground outside, or put it in a bowl. Sometimes I do all these things because I really want to clear the crystal, because they hold information. So they would hold that trauma, or they would hold the energy of the person who had it before. You can put it in a bowl of water and put salt in the bowl. And so put it in salt water, and that will literally clear the crystal of all those those undesirable energies, and start fresh. And when I work with certain crystals, I'll clear them on a regular basis to try to. Moonlight, full moon's a great time to put your crystals outside.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've heard there's so much controversy about, does that actually work or not? You know, I think it does. I've heard.
Well, they came from the earth. Don't you think they want to go outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's so many people have asked me that question. Like, does that really charge your crystals by putting them out in the moonlight like that? And they're like, how does it actually work? What's actually charging it? And I was like, well, I don't know. And you try and look it up, and it's like debunked and all this stuff, you know? So, but I think it's intention too. As soon as you put it out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and also clearing it was, clearing it so that because I've had the experience where I've bought crystals in Peru from like a shaman shop where, all sorts of stuff's going on. And I had this one crystal, I forgot to clear it. And I had the worst nightmares all night. Like it was actually, it was like I was on ayahuasca. I was having ayahuasca nightmares. And
that's why.
What's going on? I'm not even,
Yeah.
dreaming. And then I realized I hadn't cleansed the crystal. So I took it out, put it in the moon, put it outside at night. It didn't have to be a full moon. I put it in a bowl of salt water and cleared it. And then it was fine, because they transmit energy.
Interesting. Yeah.
They broadcast.
Yeah.
I never thought about like any negative dreams or anything being related to a crystal.
They broadcast, and they clear, they're pulling stuff out. If you're using it for healing, it's pulling stuff out. Then you want to clear it out.
Clear it, yeah.
I've actually seen like black tourmaline and stuff like break. I get when it harnesses so much of that negative energy, it can't handle it anymore. I've seen the crystals like snap in half.
Yeah. I've seen sound bowl, singing bowls will take a hit like that too. They will shatter when there's too much, it's called taking a hit. They'll take the hit of the heavy energy, and they'll just shatter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. That's something else to think about. Something else to add to my list of things to remember. No. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been great.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. Everybody, say the name of your website one more time.
Seattle Sound Temple. Seattle Sound Temple.
And they can book a session with you there, or find.
Absolutely. I can do live and in person. So honestly, if you do sound healing in Seattle, that's us. So you'll find.
Yeah, we'll have links in the description. Don't forget promo code Sleepy Joe, 20% off your Teespring merchandise. Promo code Truth in all caps for 10% off your Omnia patch through Christmas, and promo code Journey to Truth 10 for 10% off Hopewell Farm CBD products. Promo codes. Yeah, promo codes. Those are all in the description as well. They all make great Christmas gifts. I'm out of CBD, so if anybody wants to send me some.
So anyone wants to send Tyler CBD, feel free.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.